Warrington Wolves 34, Hull FC 6. Well, we'll get to Hull in a minute. But first and foremost, I think it's only right and fair that we consider the Primrose and Blue 7 from 7 now in 2023. And there's no question, surely now all Super League clubs are looking at Warrington as real contenders for the title this year. We're not going to say those words. However, it's been a very, very impressive start. Warrington, believe it or not, only 4 points off their total point pile from last year. Unbelievable. And also are nearly halfway towards the total amount of points that they scored last year. It's a sensational start to the season. Hull FC. Well, I have to say, there yesterday at the Halliwell Jones Stadium, of course, and very poor, incredibly poor Hull FC. They grew into the game second half. Tex Hoy certainly grew into the game second half, but of course now he's going to be missing, and that's a hammer blow for Hull FC. And very reminiscent, I believe, in terms of where Warrington were last year. We know that Tony Smith is a quality coach, and he's proven that time and time again, and he will do at Hull FC. Very similar to Darryl Powell, unfortunately. The Hull FC faithful are going to have to be very patient this year and allow Smith the time to navigate what will be a very tricky season. Personally, in terms of the teams that have visited the Halliwell Jones this season, this one was by far and away the poorest. The pack just seemed incredibly sluggish yesterday, and that's backed up by the stats. Only Sate getting over 100 metres. Warrington double the amount of metres in the middle unit. Really solid performance. But actually, more importantly, it was the spine that was really outplayed. Warrington Wolves in their spine, 2 tries between them. They set up 5 tries. Of course, this is the fullback, the standoff, the scrum half, and the hooker. Compare that to Hull FC, who only mustered up 1 try with Brad Dwyer. I mean, there is the tail of the tape in itself. The middle unit yesterday, absolutely superb for Warrington, and the spine of the team working brilliantly for Warrington. But of course, the same couldn't be said for Hull FC, and it served up quite a disappointing second half, I think, for viewers on the TV. I think it was quite sluggish. I think Warrington were messing about a little bit. It was crystal clear that they were trying to get McKaylee a try before he leaves to go to Australia, and that probably took a little bit out of their attack. And really, they only started to probably play it in the right and appropriate way once they conceded that Dwyer try, because they didn't want to lose the second half. And, fair play to them for that. Hull FC, like I say, you've got to give Tony Smith time. And why do I think it's reminiscent of where Warrington were last year? Well, it's because of the amount of players that they've got off contract. Adam Swift, Josh Griffin, Lee Ji-Sao, Chris Sate's off contract, Savelio, Cater Evans, Fash, McNamara, Brown, Connor Wynn, Jamie Shaw, Scott Taylor. I mean, the list. I mean, that, and a lot of them middle unit players. And it was exactly the same for Warrington last year. There's no doubt that not all of them, very few of them based on this performance, are going to find themselves at Hull FC next year. And Tony Smith will, of course, probably already be looking towards recruitment. I mean, the luxury I think that Hull FC have got that maybe Warrington didn't last year. I don't see Hull having any problems with relegation. I just don't see that. Warrington, of course, as we know, really did put themselves right in the mix at one point. And, they talked a lot on Channel 4 about confidence yesterday. Here's a team at Warrington at the moment that are playing with supreme confidence. Compare that to Hull FC that clearly were down on the haunches. And that's a problem for Hull. And, of course, next week they go up against the Robins. And that, to say, 20,000 plus at the MKM. And at this moment in time, based on the tail of the tape, you can see the Robins flying out of there with a win. You really, really can. Hull FC are going to have to put on one hell of a performance in front of their own supporters. And that could turn toxic next week, because we know how passionate the fans are. We know how big a game the Hull derby actually is. And should, the Robins do to Hull FC what Warrington did in terms of a quick start, get some early points on the board, oh dear, that atmosphere could turn very, very toxic indeed. So, Warrington, 7 from 7. They now go and face the trilogy. Yes, the biggest trilogy that they could have possibly have wished for in April. They go to Catalan, then they welcome the Wigan Warriors, and then, of course, St Helens. Massive games. We're going to learn so much about Warrington over the April period. And, of course, like we've already said, Hull welcome the Robins next week. So, Warrington Wolves, 34, Hull FC, 6. The wire march on, and a lot of work to do at Hull FC. This has been In the Shed. You take care.